Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Picklesimer, sports writer for Bell Ringer newspaper, with another edition of the Sports Squad from Augusta University's Department of Communication and Bell Ringer Phoenix Media. Today, the Sports Squad will discuss Augusta University men's and women's cross-country recent meets, recap AU volleyball's home opening weekend, update on AU women's golf, and wrap it up with some college football and the Atlanta Braves. Joining the squad today are Bell Ringer sports editor Carlos Rodriguez, as well as Patrick Motes and Rachel Carman, and our special guest today is Avery Jaynes, who is on the men's cross-country team, and I think he just won this week's men's cross-country of the week. So, it's we're very honored to have you here today, Avery. I just wanted to say that. Starting off, I wanted to get it kicked off with men's cross-country since we have the three of you here today. Y'all just raced at the Southern Showcase in Huntsville, Alabama, where the team overall placed 8th. How was that experience for you guys? I guess we can start off with Avery since he's our special guest, and then y'all can fight for who wants to say whatever next.
So going into it, we kind of had a plan that was like kind of pace range, but again, a lot of good D1 schools there, so we were just kind of going in trying to compete the best we could, and I think that's what we did. Like you said, 8th place behind a lot of good D1 schools. And actually, Lee University, who's ranked, I believe,
they're ranked 8th or 7th or something like that.
Yeah, and in the nation right now.
Mm-hmm.
That was for D2. So that should be kind of a ideal spot that we want to be in right now. And then we just go on to the next one.
What about you, Carlos or Patrick?
You go, Patrick.
No, I thought it was really good. I was kind of saying before, like on the pre-meet, it was going to be good to go back there and see it like 2 years later, and it was definitely good to go back. I think I saw it like a little bit differently than I remembered. There were some familiar things, but at the end of the day, like it was a better day as a team as a whole. We ran much better, much stronger. The guys really, we didn't have a big spread, which is really important. A lot of people don't understand the spread part of it. So our 1 through 7 was within 40 seconds. If even that, I think Bergamy was telling me. So it wasn't a whole lot, which is actually really, really well. And when you put it in perspective of a meet that big with over 250 runners in it, 40-second spread is actually really, really well. So our guys did a phenomenal job with that. I thought it was really fun to go out there and compete against schools like Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tulane, Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, stuff like that. It was a good time. I also think too, like it'll really benefit us down the road. We kind of have a 3-week break here of no racing that we can kind of hit a good training block in, and it'll allow us to kind of process the race a little bit, kind of remember some parts of it, how the race felt. It went out really, really fast, and so we kind of remember how that's going to feel when we get back there again and know that and expect that, because you can mentally prepare yourself for that all you want, and then you actually start it, and I mean, the way that race starts is it's basically a 600-meter like shot, like straight shot, and it's like a very gradual funnel. So it has a really good start, but it also it takes a lot too, because people are just they're going out, and then you make the first turn and some people are already dying, and it gets really hectic and stuff like that. So being able to go back out there for the D2 showcase in a few weeks on October 7th, that'll give us a good idea of what we're going to be working with.
Yeah, no, I think this meet really helped us in terms of like regional rankings, and then which came out yesterday. We were 3rd previously, and now we moved up to 2 behind Wingate. So I think that's really good to see that, because we expected that we'd be number 2. But I also think it helps us in the national rankings. Like, last week we entered the national rankings at 30, and to finish one spot behind the 7th ranked team, I think that just only shows that we should at least move up to the top 25. I think those rankings come out today at 3:00, so I'm excited to see that. We don't really care about it, but it's kind of cool to see. I think knowing that we should expect to move up and stuff like that, especially with Anderson, who's also in our region. They were ranked 26 last week, and we bumped them in the region ranking. So I think, like I said, top 25 is what I'm expecting us to be at. But yeah, kind of like they said, it was kind of cool to race against these D1 teams and stuff that you see on TV and stuff like that. And the fact that a lot of us beat guys from those schools like Kentucky, Auburn, Alabama. So, I mean, it's cool that we're able to compete with that level of guys in those top schools and stuff. And for me personally, I was just happy to be back out there since I couldn't race the first race. So just being out there with the guys and being able to work with them was really cool, and I was very excited to be back out there. Unfortunately, before the race, I forgot my shoes, so I had to race. I had to warm up in my spikes. So that wasn't really cool, but I mean, it still worked out. I had a really good race, so I thought it was cool how we performed.
We were literally talking about that the day before we got to the hotel.
It's funny, I jinxed myself too, because we basically took 2 vans there, and the van that I rode up, I was like, I'm gonna leave my shoes in here, and I think Patrick made a joke like, "Oh, what if they get robbed or something?" I'm like,
I was like, "You gonna do this, and it's gonna get broken into."
But we took a different van the next morning because the girls didn't race till after us. So the van that we took was the van that I wasn't on the previous day, so I had to warm up with my spikes. So
we get to the course, and he goes, "Oh,
yeah.
no,
Once you got to the course,
my shoes."
Yeah.
Well, my question is, how did coach feel about that when he heard that you didn't have your shoes?
No, I mean, he didn't like. Since the course was just straight grass, like it wasn't too bad. Like if it was like a course where it was like too much like, gravel and stuff like that, it'd probably be a little bit of a different story. But since we were doing our warm up in something that was super soft, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, kind of what Patrick said too about like the top 5, top 7. I think we worked well. I think we could honestly do better too. I feel like we kind of split up too early. Like I know I was behind Avery for like the first mile, but then even then I kind of like fell back and kept falling back, and I feel like that's something we need to work on the next meet, is just kind of closing that gap and not lose connect so early, because I feel like we do better in races when our whole top 5 or top 7 is with each other for like at least 4 miles of the race, which we have done in the past, and that's worked with us at like meets like conference where the whole pack is together. You see the Augusta logo 5 deep at least and stuff like that. So I feel like races like that only helps us. Fortunately for Avery, it helped. Like he was able to still have a really great race and stuff. But I really think that's what pulls us, is whenever we see guys or our own guys around each other, you don't want to fall off that. So I feel like whenever you're not creating that separation early, it's easier to hang on. So I really think next meet, if we work on that, we're gonna run even faster than we did this past weekend.
I think if we get out and position ourselves a little bit more and just like kind of understand, like, and just kind of trust ourselves, because I knew that when I got out, Avery and Carlos got out a little bit better than me and put a little bit of distance, and I just remember thinking like being a little panicked and stuff like that, and a little flustered, and like just kind of trying to stay calm. And I talked to some of my teammates after the race, and some of them said, yeah, I think there was some parts where I think we might have settled a little earlier than what we should have, and I think if we just bump that get out time a little bit more, I think that it'll be better, and it'll be good to go back to. I'm excited for it.
Moving over to what I was talking about before, like during the intro for Avery, you got runner of the week for the PBC. Talk about like how much that means to you and how much it means to the team, and then talk about how your running background prepared you for something like that going into this race and then getting that award.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely cool to kind of get that on my kind of wall, I guess you could say. But again, that's just individual. That's really like bottom tier of my focus right now. This is a team sport, so of course it's cool, get the award and whatever. But when it comes across, it's all team. So one individual can do so much, and then everybody else has to toe the line as well. So it's not really just on me or say someone else on the team. But yeah, it's awesome to go out there every day and compete with my team. That's our main goal. So yeah, it's definitely an honor though. In the past we've had, Patrick got the award. 2 of our former runners, Hans and Kai, would pretty much switch off every week and get it. So we've had a pretty deep team. So I think that's just helped me prepare to kind of, when the older guys leave, is to kind of step up and fill their roles a little bit. But yeah, it's just awesome to be able to go out there and, like I said, run with my team, and we're like a family at this point. So it's every day is just awesome to go out and have a good time and practice, train, get better, and then go out and compete with some really good teams.
Absolutely. I can tell y'all definitely are a family already, because y'all are super close, I can tell. The women also raced at Huntsville, and they finished 19th. So I wanted to ask what you guys thought of their performance as well at the race. What do y'all think?
I think they performed really good. Madison Kennedy went 18:59, so sub 19 for her. I feel like they worked really well this race. Riley stepped up, got second on the team for the girls this race as well. So I think they really worked well together and didn't give up. I mean, there's times where, like I said, people fall back and stuff like that. It looked like they kept trying to move forward and make moves. And Riley, I felt like she made a lot of big moves during that race too. So I thought they performed well and for what the field had in Huntsville.
I know that some of them, like some of the younger girls on the team, said that they kind of felt a little just flustered from the magnitude of the race, and I have personally been there freshman year. I was in that same spot. So I remember talking to them a little bit and just being like, it's okay. You're learning. It's a lot. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of different runners and stuff. So it's definitely like a learning curve to get through and stuff like that. But like Carlos said, I think they ran really, really well. They definitely had a good pack together, a lot of strong performances. And I think that even if some of them aren't super thrilled with their time, the biggest thing they can take away from it is a learning experience too. It'll be really good for them to be able to race in a big race like that too. Sometimes it can be a little hard with the amount of people, and then the mental aspect of it too. When you're caught in a group and then some people start passing you, some people don't, you can kind of get flustered. Everybody's been in that position, so I think that taking that and learning from it will really benefit them and help that carry them into the the postseason really.
Yeah. And kind of piggybacking off of the previous topic, I wanted to say something because before we moved on to the next thing, but kind of going back to Avery, and this even ties into Patrick. Most people don't even know, but like Avery's probably I think like the fastest freshman 5K wise that we've gotten in the program. He ran 15:07 at that same course as a senior and stuff. And we had guys that have been fast that have come in, but I don't think anybody's came in as fast as he has and stuff. And same like Patrick being like one of the top freshmen that we've had. But this is my question. I kind of know the answer, but I think it's cool to see that these guys are Division I level guys, and they obviously beat guys at that level. Obviously we've seen this weekend and stuff like that. But I just kind of want to know. Like I said, I think I know, but for everybody else that doesn't know, like why come here and why stay here, even though you could honestly probably out of high school go somewhere else, or even while you're in college potentially transfer somewhere else, like we've seen with previous athletes in different programs around here.
Yeah, you got it first. You started.
So yeah, coming here, I can't lie, it was a tough decision at the start, especially for like a senior. My times were, like Carlos said, they were pretty good. Not like upper level D1 times. But I did have a couple, D1 options. But it really came down to like, first off, of course we do have a new coach now, but he's just as good as our previous coach, Coach Ward. But they just made it feel like a family, like before I was even on the team. And then Patrick was messaging me before I had committed. Some of the guys on the team were messaging me, and it's just the culture here is so much more than a lot of the other schools. And plus, when it comes down to it, I kind of weighed my options, and it was like, would I rather go to, a lower D1 and have the flashy D1, but not be able to go anywhere, or come to Augusta and have a shot at, a conference title ring, and then potentially a shot at nationals, which we're already kind of reaching for right now. So yeah, it's comparison wise, to me, Augusta, I had more opportunity to grow, which I mean I have, and it was just the whole culture of everything. Just it made me feel welcome before I was even on the team.
Yeah, I really wanted to go somewhere that I knew I could make a difference. I didn't know how fast or when, and for both Avery and I, there were some people who had left earlier and graduated earlier when we came in than I had expected, and some of the guys on the team had texted like our freshman group and was like, hey, some of y'all are going to have to step up. And so I wanted to go somewhere that I knew I could make a difference. When that time would be, I didn't know. It came a lot earlier than I think I expected, to be quite honest, but I wanted to go somewhere where we could compete for a national championship and go there and have those opportunities and experiences too. And I think it's been a really great opportunity, and I've made some of the best friends ever.
Well, I mean, if it's in my opinion, I think both of y'all made the right choice, because like one of my favorite pictures I think I've seen from our sports program as I've been involved with is Avery when you were crossing the finish line, pointing to your ring finger as holding up the floor for the fourth in a row region title. So I definitely think that both of y'all made the right choice. If it's my personal opinion. Last week we were talking about how half the team was going to go to Huntsville, and then the other half of the team was going to go to Charlotte for the Queen City Invite. So talk about the other people that went to the Queen City Invite, how they did there, and what all happened in Charlotte for us.
I mean, big shout out to them for sure. It's definitely tough because we had coach with us, and so he couldn't be there. So they were, most of them were like lower classmen. but they did a very good job of kind of managing themselves. They did have one of our previous assistant coaches with them, but of course it's not the same as our head coach, but they did a very good job of kind of getting focused, and they knew what they were supposed to do, and I think they did that. There was a lot of good times that came out of that. Some of the guys that had like a slower start really got back into it, and they'll actually be coming with us to the next one, so it's big shout out to them, and just we're excited. Even the guys that didn't go with us even did very well, so it's good to see kind of both sides of that.
Yeah, we had Andrew Helfers, who's a sophomore. He's one of our top guys on the track this past season. He kind of had some sickness throughout the first race and kind of during the summer and stuff, so he kind of fell off a little bit just because of all the stuff he was dealing with, and he had a bounce back race. He ran about like a minute and a half faster than he did at the first meet, so he ran 25:56 and really positioned himself currently as like the 8th man right now on the team, which is a big role. That's the alternate position for the top 7, so if something goes wrong with the top 7 guy, he's next up, so very big spot for him. And it was really nice to see him bounce back, just because we know he was dealing with some sickness and stuff, and we knew that he was capable of running the time that he's running now. And I'm excited just for that whole group that had a good race over there to be able to get to go to Huntsville now with us, because now we will take about 15 or so guys to this next Huntsville race. So it'll be cool to see how the rest of the team does that didn't get a chance to run at Huntsville run at this next meet.
Cool. What about you, Patrick? Anybody that you saw that you like to have that you had your on that thought they did really good?
No, I think that they summed it up perfectly. I don't think I can say it any better myself. They did. They got it all and wanted to go.
Stepped up to the plate.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to volleyball. The team went 3-0 in their home opening weekend for the PVC/Golf Soft crossover, improving their winning streak to 8 matches. Rachel, what were your thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, no, AU was dominant this entire tournament. You had 3 PBC teams. You got AU, Georgia College, and Aiken, and then 3 Gulf South teams. You got Valdosta, Montevallo, and Mississippi. And AU was the only team to walk away undefeated. They won all 3 matches that they played. The last one was a little close, a little scary near the first bit, because they gave away the first 2 sets, but they were able to bring it back. But they really performed well. The first game against Valdosta, they won all 3 sets. It was 14-25, 22-25, 21-25. And we see Jasmine Wheeler again and again leading in kills. You got Savannah Davis coming up next with 8. And now Savannah Davis, she's really making a difference on the team. She's a new transfer from Scottsdale, same program that Alexis Diaz-Infante and Jasmine Wheeler are from. So you see a lot of talent coming from Arizona. She knows how to win. She knows how to play. So that's really exciting to have her on the team. But then second game on day 2 against Montevallo, it was a little close as well. They lost the second set, but the set points were 20-25, 25-21, 18-25, 12-25. So went to 4. It was a little bit more competitive than that first game. Montevallo is a great program, but again, Jasmine Wheeler, brought it home for us, as she always does. You can't really question her much. But the third game was questionable. It was rough. The first 2 sets they gave away, it was 25-19, 25-19 for those first 2. And it was getting close. I think maybe they're kind of losing some stamina, losing some confidence maybe coming out of the first 2 games. But, they were able to bring it back. In the last 3 sets was 13-25, 19-25, 10-15. So I don't know. I think they really pulled through. Patrick, what do you think? What do you think?
I was looking through the stat sheet last night. I didn't get a chance to go to the game because we were traveling to Huntsville. Right. But with Jasmine Wheeler having her second double-double of the day, and let's see, what else she had 11 kills, 17 digs against Montevallo, and Dariana Luna with a really impressive 37 digs and a career high. That against Mississippi College too. That's really good. Like, I think that's what really kind of helped them come back from the 2-0 deficit. That's really big. Like, to see her leadership step up and be willing to just kind of put herself out there for that, and that really rallies the team. Be like, okay, we can do this. We have everything around us we need. Yeah,
Dariana, she's one of those players, like, she's going to go after it. She doesn't really have much hesitation whatsoever. The ball comes her way, she's gonna go after it. So like you said, a career high of 37 digs is impressive.
Yeah.
And throughout that game as well, Jasmine Wheeler had a double-double of 19 kills, 13 digs. And we were out this tournament of Kaylee Cleaver. She's dealing with the ankle injury right now, so we're kind of trying to figure out what other players can we put in to kind of fill that spot and everything, because she's outstanding, Cleaver is. But we saw a lot from Jordan Jerome, which was very interesting. I feel like she hasn't really played much this season, but she did really well. She had 9 kills in 1 block against Mississippi College in that very competitive match. So I think having her apart was also really, really exciting. We had a very effective blocking team with Madeline Eden, right side, Sofia Kruchko. She's outstanding. If y'all go out and watch her, it's intimidating to see her. She doesn't let stuff get past her. It's very, very cool to see. And then, of course, middle blocker Jada Sugutsaraga. She, again, just is unstoppable, it seems. But it was a very, very interesting, very exciting tournament, the PBC Gulf South crossover. Coming up, we start conference play this weekend against Flagler College, Friday at 6 and then Saturday at 3. And now Flagler is very competitive. We have a losing record against them right now, 11-23. So it'll be an interesting game. So make sure y'all come out and support the Jags against Flagler.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to that Flagler matchup, because last year I think when we had Coach on, she was talking about how they were the ones that knocked them out of the region last year. So I'm really looking forward to that matchup, so you can go in there and get their get back on them. They need to get their get back.
I feel like Flagler is always a school with like all the sports. Like I remember basketball having the battles, and even us. Like they're the ones that finished right behind us in cross country and stuff like that, and all the distance events and during track and stuff like that. So I feel like the rivalry, that Flagler Augusta rivalry, is like really big in the conference. So hopefully they pull through and get that W.
I definitely feel like Flagler and us, AU, are definitely like the two like stacked in every sport, because you got some schools that are like good in like Wingate's good in cross country. You have all these schools that are good in some things, but I feel like us two kind of have like the well-rounded. You're listening to the Sports Squad from Bell Ringer Phoenix Media with special guest Avery Jaynes. Carlos, talk about the women's golf team. They've been playing over the past couple days. Talk about how they performed and how the team looks now that they've lost a couple players, and they got a couple new ones. Talk about the team and how they're playing these past couple days.
Yeah, so they just finished up yesterday competing at the Badger Invitational hosted by University of Wisconsin. They finished 13th out of 15 teams, so not a crazy performance, but it is their first tournament of the year, so you kind of usually expect that from not even just them, but even on the guys' side, it's usually kind of a slower start, trying to get used to playing with new players and trying to get that chemistry going. But Victoria Zhang, she was having a really great tournament. She was really up there in the leaderboard, but kind of fell back as the last round kind of kicked off. But she led the team with a 14th place finish, shooting 3 over. But like I said, it's their first tournament of the year. First one without Mirabelle Ting, who obviously, really was great for them all last year. So I think that's one thing that was just difficult, is just trying to get used to playing without your best player again, which unfortunately they've had to done the past 2 years, losing your best player to ACC school. So very tough thing to do. But I think usually once they kind of get that groove going, I think in the spring is when they usually pick up, because obviously the fall season they don't really play too much. It's only a few tournaments. The spring is the really one that really matters at all, just because that's when you're going into higher level tournaments and getting ready for conference and stuff like that. So I think by the time the spring gets going, I think they'll be fine, because just like last year, they didn't really have a really good start last fall, but you saw they won the conference tournament, and then they made it to national championships. So I think if just work together and kind of build that chemistry, and obviously with these new players and stuff, I think they'll be fine for that next semester. Moving on to college football, obviously a big weekend. We talked about some of the matchups last week. Georgia and South Carolina, and Florida versus Tennessee. Some wrong predictions from last week. So so obviously some big games. Obviously, like I said, Colorado versus Colorado State was another big game. Unfortunately, we probably couldn't watch it because we had a long run the next morning.
Nope,
so I didn't watch it because it was such a late game and stuff. But what were your thoughts on the weekend and all the games that happened?
So I'd like to apologize to Dr. Bula for coming on here and saying that Tennessee was going to wipe Florida.
Me too. I would definitely like to apologize
as well. They played an outstanding game. I remember I was like, wow, this is actually a really good game. They drove the ball really well, played defense really well on both sides of the ball. The Georgia game, they had the state of Georgia scared, about half the game, and then they came out and played a lot better. 21-0 in the second half, forced 2 interceptions. I think that that really kind of showed their identity. Like I think it showed that kind of team. You got a smirk on your face, though, Josh. What you got?
No. I was just, I mean, I think it was a good game for Georgia, how they came back and all. The weather wasn't great.
Nope.
I think Spencer Rattler lost his number one target.
Yeah.
He got hurt. He was trying to come back, but he couldn't even stand on his own foot. So he had two people holding him up.
I don't even really know how that happened because he just walked right into the end zone and then all of a sudden he was just like,
something happened. I don't really know what happened there, but I think if this is why I said to a couple people, I was like, if there was no such thing as halftime, I think South Carolina would have won that game. But
absolutely.
I think Kirby Smart is probably one of the best, if not the best, adjustment makers in college football because, he's done that several times where he's been down at halftime and for some reason they come out there.
They start swinging.
And Georgia, and then
they looked like a totally different football team. They looked like a totally different
and you could just tell, after the first drive they went in, it took them 6 to 7 plays to punch a touchdown in, and you're just like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I found myself rooting against Georgia. I'm just like, oh, no,
that's no surprise.
This is not going to go well for Carolina. And as you said, I think you said it was 21-0 in the second half.
21-0 second half.
So,
Carson Beck goes 27 for
and
35.
He looked spectacular in the second half.
He
in
did.
the first half, he's a little shaky, but it was probably just that one miss to Brock Bowers.
That was kind of a bad. Yeah. Can't have them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I understand. But listen, great game for the Georgia Bulldogs. Great game. Don't get me wrong.
Moving on to week 4, they have UAB coming to town this is their last home game before they go on a long travel stretch. So this is a really kind of important matchup to kind of tone things in, get things figured out really before they hit the road for a while. For anybody who doesn't know, UAB brought in a new coach this year, Trent Dilfer, who is an Elite 11 head coach, which is a big high school prospect quarterback thing. So he is very knowledgeable in that. Some week 4 slates that we got. We have a big week in college football this week. Or do you guys want to talk about the Colorado State game?
I was going to briefly mention it.
Go ahead.
So if you I think I said this also to some other people. I was like, if you would have told me that a year ago at 2:30 in the morning, I was going to be watching a Colorado versus Colorado State shootout, I would have been like, you're crazy. But that game was a dogfight. You had players hitting each other. I felt really bad for Travis Hunter because he got absolutely obliterated by Blackburn from Colorado State. But like I was saying last week, I had no idea that Colorado was good. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I think that they'll lose. Now that they've got Oregon coming in this week, I think they'll start to get into their tougher schedule. They're going to get some losses, but I think in that game, how much Colorado State was punching in the mouth, you're just getting punched repeatedly, and you thought you were going to get knocked out, but then they kept getting up. And Shadur Sanders, he's for real.
He is for real.
I did not.
He's for real.
He's
good. He has got a lot of talent.
That's crazy. After the game, Deion Sanders is saying, listen, as long as the ball's in his hands, I'll live with the result.
Now let me ask you this question though. I'll play the different side of this. Do you think Colorado actually played as good as the score represented? Because technically on paper, they played a team that hadn't won anything in the past 4 years.
No.
You have Deion Sanders as a head coach. You have Shadur Sanders. You have Travis Hunter. And don't you think that they kind of should have ran with that game? So I was kind of thinking about it.
But
they
I could
played
also
a really
say,
tough game. Not every football game is pretty.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also think I could also say that I think Georgia should have ran with the South Carolina game. But it's one of those things where it's a rivalry.
Oh yeah.
And when it's a rivalry,
it's personal.
It's personal. And I think when one of those things Colorado obviously had the most talent out there, but when it's a rivalry and the whole entire week, you had each coach taking jabs at each other. Colorado State head coach is talking about Deion Sanders' mama, talking about how he didn't raise him right.
Man, I heard about
you don't talk about my mama. That's
sunglasses,
the one rule.
And I was like, this is childish. Y'all go play the game of football.
Exactly.
It's childish.
So sooner or later, I was just I don't think Colorado State played up to their. To one of their to the thing that they should have said, but or the thing that they should have played up to. I don't think they should have. I think they should have played a lot better. But it's a rivalry game, so that's what happens.
Did you catch that Alabama game?
I don't even want to talk about that. Jaden Milroe, he's finally the quarterback, I think. But that was embarrassing. I'm surprised Alabama is ranked as high as they are because they have looked.
They looked bad.
Terrible.
They have Ole Miss coming to town this week.
Oh, they're
upset alert. Upset alert.
Oh,
that Ole Miss is hot right now.
Is that even an upset? I don't even think that's. Rank-wise, it'll be an upset. Number-wise, but I don't think it'll be.
It's in Tuscaloosa. That's why I'm taking it as an upset.
Okay. I'll agree with you, I guess, if it's an upset. But if I was a betting man, which I'm not. But if I was a betting man, I would put a significant amount of money on Ole Miss. But
Wow.
we all know how that goes with me, because I would have put a significant amount of money on Tennessee last week, and I would have been a very broke man. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. So busy week. We have Florida State at Clemson. That has the potential to be a good game, but Clemson is off to a very poor start this year. Very slow start. They do not look good at all. Sneaky game, maybe. Kind of depends on which team we get in Texas A&M. Auburn at Texas A&M. Texas A&M has a great, talented roster. Auburn is playing actually great football. I'm not sure why they're ranked. They should be ranked, in my personal opinion.
Who, Texas A&M?
No, Auburn. Auburn's been playing good, hard football. I think they're undefeated, if I stand corrected.
I think they are.
So we have Colorado, Oregon. That'll be a good one. I'm excited to see how Oregon handles
That's probably
them.
my game of the week that I want to watch.
Well, Ohio State's at Notre Dame. That is going to be a really good game at 7:30.
Ohio State will probably blow them out, like usual.
I don't think
Notre Dame
they're
plays
gonna
good
blow 'em
against
out.
everybody, and then they face a big team, and then they...
I think it'll be close for a little bit, but yeah, I do think Ohio State runs away. And then UCLA at Utah, that 22 versus 12 matchup, so that can be pretty good. And then, like we were saying earlier, Ole Miss at Alabama, which could be a really good game. I think I'm taking Ole Miss in this one. I think they hand them their second loss of the season.
I would agree. I'll agree with you there. I'll agree.
You guy got any takes on that?
No?
Not really.
No, we don't take football fans on the other
takes
side of the
that.
table.
Okay, no takes.
I'm here for cross, but I have my takes.
All right, we'll wrap up the show here briefly with some Braves talk, because if we don't wrap it up briefly, we'll just keep going and going and going
gosh, we
and
could
going.
be
And
out here.
Rachel will get bored. She'll
Yeah.
probably fall asleep over here.
Already did.
No, already
whoa,
did.
wow.
All right,
Just kidding,
so the Braves. I think since the last show, the Braves have clinched the NL East. I'm wearing my For the NL East shirt. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I'm wearing that to represent the Braves. Right after they were going up, they looked great, and then all of a sudden they won the division, and then they went on that 4-game skid where I didn't want to wear my shirt because we got outscored like 46-13 in Miami, or the Braves got outscored 46-13 in Miami, and it was embarrassing, But now, we're right back on the right track. We're still trying to get that one seed in the NL to try and win it all. So Avery, what I know you're a big Braves fan.
I am.
Talk about the past couple days, how you've been making it, watching these Braves, and what have you liked about the Braves going into the last 2 weeks of the season?
I came prepared. I took some notes just
I like to
because
see it.
huge, like I said, huge Braves fan. I could talk all day about this, but through September they're 9-9, so they're still at 500. Lowest they've been all season, but again, coming off of that big clinch, these games, they don't necessarily matter in the sense that some of the previous games did, but of course we still want to finish strong. Dodgers are, I want to say 3.5, 2.5 behind now, so we definitely have to watch out for that. But again, there's like two takes for that. Some people prefer to not have a break, some people do. You can tell last season that didn't work out for really anyone.
Nope.
Especially the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're getting back on the right track. Acuna last night, 3 for 5, 2 home runs, stolen base, really close to his 40-70, which has never been done before. And then Strider, he had a good outing last night. 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, and 11 strikeouts.
Didn't he give up that 16-run game versus
He did.
Miami?
I don't think he's Cy Young favored anymore, at least in my opinion.
Who's Strider?
Yeah.
Well, I think he would be top 3, but I feel like Blake Snell really kind of sealed the deal last night with that 7-inning no-hitter, 10 Ks.
Yeah, can you give up 16 to Miami and be like, yeah, I'm with Avery on this one. I don't know if you can give up 16 to that and then just be like, yeah, I'm still the best.
If he could get the runs
he's still
down,
top 3 though.
If he could get the runs down, he would have it, no questions asked. I mean, he's the king of strikeouts, really, which goes a long way in baseball, but the ERA is it's killing him. It's killing the Braves. But
Right now it is. Okay, Patrick, we've heard Avery. What have you seen this week? I mean, highlight something for me, what you've liked, what you've disliked. Tell you what, I want you to give me what you've liked most about the Braves the past week and what you've disliked about the Braves the most the past week.
Oh, goodness. I was glad that they beat the Phillies pretty good last night.
I did enjoy that.
Because the Phillies are in contention for that wild card spot. Are they in?
They're Marlins and Phillies are all... It's close.
The Phillies are in the
close.
top spot in the NL. They have the top spot.
I think Marlins now are like half a game
behind.
out.
Their sweep of the Braves this past week could really help.
That was needed. That was much needed. We needed to get it. They needed to get a win underneath the belt to kind of be like, all right, we're good. The one thing I did not like, I did not appreciate getting an update on my phone saying a 16-3 loss. That was pretty. I was like, who's pitching? And I saw Strider, and I was like, oh my goodness. It was atrocious.
Don't remind me of that. Why would you remind me of that?
It was atrocious. I was befuddled. I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either. But, I'm looking forward. We were talking about it beforehand. I'm looking forward to seeing him for Acuna. He's 1 homer away. He's 3 stolen bases away from being the first ever 40 home run.
He's got 11
70
games
stolen
left.
bases.
He's
got 11 games
to do this.
Yeah.
He can
11
do this.
games.
It's plenty of time.
For sure.
He's just got to hit one more home run, and then you stop worrying about the home run, worry about the singles, worry about the walks, and take your base.
Get your 40-70 and then play as a team and just get.
I feel like at this point he's locked for the MVP. In my opinion.
Anybody who says
argue this all day.
Because a couple weeks ago we were like, is it Betts? Is it Acuna?
Anybody who says Mookie Betts is the MVP, please go see your doctor. You need help.
Stolen bases count. They matter.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I heard
that
a
actually
wild.
matters.
Avery and I heard a wild take the other day that stolen bases don't matter.
They do.
They absolutely do.
If they didn't matter, then everyone would do it.
I can think of at least 2 to 3 games where it was either a tied ball game or we were down 1 run, and Acuna being on the base path stealing caused us to either tie or take the lead, and we ended up winning the game later.
I think it was it the Cardinals we played? He was on second, stole third, they overthrew, he scored and tied.
Yeah,
so you put somebody on second base,
exactly.
they are automatically scoring. You can't make it all the way around from first unless you have a crazy hit.
Nope.
A line drive right up the middle, you can at least get somebody to third, if not home, depending on who it is. So it's important.
I agree. All right, well, we'll wrap up here so Carlos doesn't get mad at us for talking about the Braves too long. All right, thank you for listening today, and thanks to our panelists for being on the podcast, Carlos Rodriguez, Patrick Motes, and Rachel Carman, and our special guest, Avery Jaynes. We'll be back with another episode soon. The Sports Squad is a production of Bellringer Phoenix Media. The producer today was Ethan Balducci. The opinions stated here are those of the individuals and not Augusta University. You can find us on bellringer.com or aubellringer.com, on the Augusta Press website, and on Spotify. And now we record this for YouTube. So if you want to go out there and look us up on the AU Sports Squad on YouTube, you can see what we're wearing. You can see how we're talking. You can see me pointing to Patrick right now as we speak. Please send your comments to bellringerproduction@gmail.com. Have a great day and listen again soon. This is Joshua Picklesimer saying so long. We're out.